So, losing session today, uh, pretty much my fault. I ran one big bluff, which I kind of liked, which I'm going to cover coming up here. And it's not something I normally do. But I unloaded the clip for a bunch of money, and the guy called me down with a fairly weak holding that I thought he would fold. And then to finish things off, I made a call against the guy, which I'll cover that hand as well. But my biggest leak, I know, is I don't fold. Okay, first hand here of this cash session I played a few days ago, going off memory here. We had a button raise, a regular raise to about 20 in the late position, 20 or 25. Remember, it was a couple limps. I looked down at ace of spades, seven of spades. I really kind of prefer a three bet here. I probably should have three bet, but I ended up just calling. Let's see what it was. Yeah, that's what I thought, 25. And we had a guy in the middle position that he limp called. Okay. So the flop came out ace, jack, deuce with two hearts. So we flop an ace. And I check to the razor. It's checked to the button. He goes ahead and bets, and he bets pretty small. So I go ahead and call. I think he bet about 25 or 30 here. I call, which I think is fine. And then the middle position call. Now the turn was like a offsuit five. Didn't really change anything. And I ended up checking again, kind of checking in flow. And in hindsight here, I really don't like this. I mean, I know this is following in flow. But basically what I did is I ended up checking. It got checked through. And then the river, I went ahead and bet out about $75 here for value. The middle position called, and the button called, and the button had king jack. He had a king on the river. So he ended up rivering two pair. And the reason I thought about this for a little bit. I know it's kind of natural to go ahead and check to the razor again, but honestly, the guy in middle position, when he overcalls, he's probably got some type of draw, probably a flush draw. And to just give him a free card, I really like donking on the turn, to be honest. I didn't have the greatest ace. I know that the button could have a better ace than me, but he's naturally c-betting. He bet kind of small last act. And the guy in the middle, the main thing is the guy in the middle I thought he had a flush draw. He had some kind of draw. So if I go ahead and just donk the turn, I charge the draw that's in the middle because I feel he's got probably a gutter or a flush draw. Um, and I deny equity to the button. Now, if I bet and get called in both places, or if I get raised, then of course I can fold. But I kind of hate it, and it's not really results oriented. Yeah, the guy hit two pair on me on the river. The guy who raised on the button had king jack, so he ended up rivering me with two pair, and he would have folded on the turn. So that's being kind of results oriented. But there's no way to do three-way solvers right now. But I kind of like just betting, donking the turn for value here. So I wish I played that a little different. Okay, so the cutoff in late position here. He ends up raising. He doesn't raise very often. So I'm next to act. I looked down at pocket jiggities. He made it 20. Not sure why I didn't raise more as a three bet, but I made it 50. Everyone else folded, and he called. The flop came ace, jack, deuce, rainbow. So I flopped a set, which was wonderful. He ends up checking to me. And as you can see here in a minute, I end up betting $50. And he ends up calling. So there I am betting $50. The turn was like an offsuit seven. Nothing really changed. He checked again, and I decided to check it back just to be deceptive. I didn't think I could get another street off of him. I was so strong. Didn't feel like he had an ace. And I felt like if I just bet again, he wasn't calling, but possibly I could get value on the river. Just sometimes I'll check the turn for deception, and just because I checked doesn't mean I don't have anything. Obviously, I had to set here, and I just felt like I wasn't going to call it if I bet the turn with anything. So, surprisingly, on the river was a 10. It did bring in a straight, and he bets big on the river. I bet he bet like $120. And this guy always has it. He just never bluffs. But I thought, I don't know. I thought I'm just too strong here. I didn't feel like he necessarily had it. Sometimes in rare occasions he bluffs, but I ended up making the call, and shockingly, he had pocket nines. So he just turned his hand into a bluff, which really surprised me because this is a guy that rarely bluffs. And apparently it worked. The fact that I checked back the turn gave him the green light to go ahead and fire a bluff at me. So sometimes you got to realize when you check, you're feigning weakness. And when you feign weakness like that, sometimes you're forced to call down. Of course, I had a set, but he could easily have a straight. It's possible. But the other thing is too, he could easily have two pair. Like say he river two pair, he's probably betting there too. So I thought he could be betting some things for value that I beat as well. So that was another reason I called. I didn't expect him to have the bluff that he had, but yeah, not a real interesting hand, but that was this one. So this next one was pretty expensive. I believe the button raised to 10 and I made it 25 for some reason. I went back and looked at this and saw that I just said 25. If I wasn't a three better and I just made it 25, I don't like how I played this. It makes more sense if I was to three better. All I caught on the recording, I thought I had three bet originally, which makes more sense. If I did not, I don't like this as much. I looked down at Ace Queen of Spades. I made it $25. I thought I did three bet. I'm not sure now. And I had two callers. The flop came 7-7-3, rainbow. I have ace queen of spades. Typically, I'm going to, with the three people, I'm going to bet small on this paired board. So I went ahead and I bet $25 into 75. I believe it was around there, 75.80. And we get two callers. The turn was another seven. So it brought three sevens on the board. So I bet $60, kind of representing an overpair. I don't usually do this, but I thought, boy, it makes sense if I haven't, I could easily rep an overpair here, right? So the one guy folded, and the next guy, he hemmed and hawed. He wasn't sure. And I could just tell by watching him that he almost folded. He wasn't sure he wanted a call, but he did call. So the river was a blank, like an offsuit deuce or something like that. And when it came back to me, I thought, boy, I got to bet big to sell the story here. I think I could get him off a pair. If he has a pair of nines, pair of eights, something like that. I'm obviously repping an overpair. So I bet $250. And he ended up calling me pretty quickly, which really surprised me. I was obviously repping an overpair. Um, he said, well, I can't fold up overpair to the board. So, well, so be it. I guess that's what happened. So, he was good. He had pocket nines, and I lost a bundle of money with this particular hand. And yeah, like I said, if I just made it 25 and I three barreled, I mean, I don't like it as much because, yeah, it doesn't make as much. It's not as believable that I have like aces, kings, or queens, which is obviously what I'm representing. Jacks, whatever, along those lines. Because I could have a lot of different things raising. Um, but I thought I had three bet, which makes this more believable. Not sure I did. So now that I go look back at this, I'm not really a fan of this. I mean, it's a believable story. And the way he called the turn, I really thought I could get him to fold. But unfortunately, I could not get him to fold. So that didn't work. Lost a bunch of money. I really like it, especially if I had three bet. If it was just a standard raise, yeah, it's hard to get people off of nines or eights there. People really don't fold. It's like trying to get someone off ace when they have a weak ace, top pair. It's just hard to get people to fold those particular hands. So, in hindsight, I'm not thrilled with it. Again, the way he called the turn, I really thought I could get him off a smaller pair. Um, but yeah, that's what I did, and it didn't go according to plan there. So, and of course, the very next hand, I have like queens, and everybody folds. So. All right, this next hand here, I didn't make sure I showed my cards in front of the camera. So I missed it. You're not going to see what I had, but I had 10 of spades, 8 of spades. So it got raised in early position. I'm on the button here. Gets raised to $15. Call, 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 call. Right, there's multiple callers. It gets around me on the button. Again, I have 10 8, 10 8 of spades. I end up going ahead and making the call as well. I guess it's fine. The multiple colors there. I'm on the button. The flop comes out. 10 of hearts, 9 of hearts, deuce of clubs. So it gets checked to me with all these people. I draw a heavy board. So naturally, with top pair, I go ahead and bet. Um, I don't recall what the pot size was. It was something like $60, and I bet like 30. What I bet here? Yeah, $30. So I bet 30 into 60. We get one caller, and everybody else folds. Okay. The turn was like an offsuit four, and it brought in backdoor clubs. So it did bring in a backdoor flush draw, and the guy who was the original raiser, he checks to me again, and I go ahead and I bet out again here, and I bet I believe about $75, which would make sense. Let's see what I put out here if you can even see it. Um, I'm not sure it matters. I went ahead and I bet out probably around that area, and the villain basically check raised all in for like $300. And what happens here is I talk myself into, okay, it was a draw heavy board. Why would he check such a draw heavy board, 10-9 of hearts, into all these people? And then the turn brought in like a backdoor flush draw. So many times I end up talking myself into, well, geez, why would he check twice with a draw heavy board, right? And backdoor clubs came in, and he could have a hand like 7-8 of clubs, or queen jack of clubs. That makes sense, right? Where he had an open ender, he check called, and then he turned backdoor clubs, so he must have like a combo draw. And I ended up calling, and of course he shows me a set of nines, right? He flopped a set, so he just check called, and then check, let me bet again, and then check raised all in. um I have to realize that so many times these rec players are not bluffing with combo draws. They are not check raising with some big queen jack of clubs that hit on the turn. You see a lot of that in tournament poker, or you see a lot of times people just donking out, betting big time with some type of combo draw where they backdoored something. Let's say a lot of times you see a pre-flop raiser, he'll bet, and then when he picks up extra outs on the turn, he'll bet again, because he picked up extra outs. But people that are rec players that you don't see bluff much, when they check raise the turn, they've got it. They've got it. And I always talk myself into they can have some kind of crazy combo draw, and I end up making a terrible call, and I see, boom, a set. I've just got to learn that, what is it that Mark, the guy who does the Hungry Horse Poker, he turns around and he says, the last time I saw a rec player check raise as a bluff on the turn was when Grover Cleveland was president. It just doesn't happen. When people check raise the turn as a rec player that don't bluff much, they've got it. You just got to fold. You just got to fold. And I need to learn that. And I should know this. And I ended up calling. And so it was a horrible call by me. Kind of an interesting hand to go through there. But yes, when they check raise the turn, they got it. You got to fold. As you learn the players, this guy never fucking bluffs. I know he doesn't bluff. Dumbass, I fucking called. So mad at myself. I'm hard on myself. But it's just like, come on, Dan. The guy never bluffs.